So, today we're going to decode how governments all over the world are scrambling to keep up in the digital age. We're breaking down a huge United Nations report that actually gives a report card to 193 countries on their digital progress. Let's dive in. You know the feeling, right? You're drowning in paperwork, you're stuck waiting in endless lines, and you're just thinking, isn't there a better way to do this? It's a universal headache. But what happens when that slow, old school system slams into a major global crisis? Well, exactly that. Suddenly, when everything shut down, digital government wasn't a nice to have anymore. It became an absolute lifeline. This quote from the UN report really hits the nail on the head. The pandemic basically stress tested our entire online infrastructure, and it showed us just how critical this stuff really is. Okay, so how do we actually get away from all that old school bureaucracy? The answer is something called e-government. Now, it's a term we hear thrown around a lot, but what does it actually mean? What does it look like in the real world? Well, at its core, it's pretty simple. It's about using technology to make government work better for us, the people. But as you're about to see, it's so much more than just slapping a few forms on a website. It's about completely rethinking how things are done. Yeah, you gotta understand, modern e-government is a total mindset shift. We're talking about using data to make smarter decisions, constantly improving services based on what people actually need, and even working together with citizens and private companies. It's a whole new relationship between you and the government. So how are countries actually doing on this front? Well, for that, we can turn to what is pretty much the gold standard, the UN e-government survey. And this is a massive job. I mean, think about it. Every 2 years, the UN goes out and benchmarks all 193 member states. It creates this incredibly detailed snapshot of who's leading the pack, who's falling behind, and which strategies are actually working. And the main tool they use to do this is called the E-Government Development Index, or EGDI for short. It's this one powerful score that kind of boils down a country's entire digital performance. It lets us directly compare a country like Denmark with, say, Djibouti. What's really cool is how they calculate this score. It's not just about having flashy websites. It's built on three solid pillars. First, online services. What can you actually do online? Second, telecom infrastructure. Can people even get online reliably? And third, human capital. Do people have the skills to use the technology? So you see, it's a really complete picture. Okay, so that's how it's measured. Now for the really fun part, the results. Who's at the top of the class? And what are the big trends telling us about where the world is headed? The big headline is that there's progress pretty much everywhere. I mean, look at this. In just 2 years, the number of countries in that top-tier, very high-performance group jumped from 40 all the way to 57. This isn't some niche trend. It is a full-blown global movement. Now, if we break it down by region, Europe is clearly the powerhouse right now. Almost 60% of European countries are in that top group. Asia is also making some really strong moves, followed by the Americas and Oceania. But this is where the story gets really interesting. You might just assume this is all about the world's wealthiest countries, right? But the data tells a much more exciting, much more nuanced story. And this is what I'm talking about. Just look at some of these incredible stories. It shows that having a really focused strategy can be a total game changer. You've got countries like Rwanda and Uganda delivering online services that punch way above their economic weight. And over in Asia, nations like Bangladesh and India are rolling out some incredibly sophisticated digital services. It just goes to show that political will can be every bit as powerful as having deep pockets. Now, this whole digital transformation, it's not just happening at the national level. In fact, some of the most exciting, most groundbreaking stuff is happening on a smaller scale, right in our own cities. Cities are really on the front lines. They're like these amazing laboratories using data and tech to solve the everyday problems that affect us the most. Things like traffic, trash collection, public safety. And in the process, they're becoming what we call smart cities. Just take Boston, for example. By using a smart algorithm to figure out its school bus routes, the city got these unbelievable results. They cut 1 million miles of driving, saved a ton of money, and slashed pollution. That is a massive real-world win. Or check out what Dubai's doing. They have an AI chatbot that's basically a virtual city employee. It's on duty 24/7 to answer common questions, which frees up the human staff to deal with the more complicated problems. It's just a brilliant way to make things more efficient and improve the experience for citizens. And in Hangzhou, China, they have a system that analyzes video feeds from all over the city to manage traffic in real time. The result? faster, smoother commutes for millions of people. These examples just give you a taste of what's possible when you put data to work for the public good. So, we've looked at the global picture. We've seen these amazing innovations in cities, but let's zoom all the way out. What is the big takeaway here? Why should you really care about any of this? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about the convenience of renewing your driver's license online. It goes so much deeper. It's about a fundamental move toward a government that is more inclusive, more transparent, and ultimately a government that actually works for everyone. Here's the real impact. Good e-government means we're designing services so that vulnerable groups like the elderly or people with disabilities don't get left behind. It's about building trust by making things more transparent. It means creating systems that can actually handle the next big crisis. And it's about building smarter, more sustainable cities for the future. And that brings me to a final question for you. As this digital wave continues to build, what does it mean for your life? I mean, really think about it. What is the one government thing you do that you just wish was as simple as ordering a pizza? Because that future is exactly what these countries are trying to build, one click at a time.